Blake Lively will be sued. And we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also. And some
Ryan
of them come
Reynolds?
as a surprise. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Oh, wow. He was involved in this to some extent. There was a meeting at their apartment at which
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have just faced one of the most humiliating downfalls in Hollywood history. Once celebrated as the industry's golden couple, they are now being exposed as master manipulators who deceived the world. And if even their closest A-list friends are backing away, you know their reign is officially over. For years, these two had everyone convinced they were Hollywood's perfect pair. Blake carefully curated the ultimate down-to-earth girl persona, sharing wholesome Instagram posts about baking and family life. Meanwhile, Ryan kept the world entertained with his meme-worthy humor, making them seem like the most relatable celebrity couple out there. They were untouchable, or so they thought. But as always, the truth finds a way out. Beneath the layers of PR perfection, these two were hiding something much darker. Turns out, they weren't the wholesome, self-aware couple they portrayed themselves to be. Instead, they were just another problematic Hollywood duo who got far too comfortable playing the game. And their biggest mistake? Thinking they could get away with it. Now, the same industry that once worshipped them is watching as their empire collapses. And the internet? Oh, the internet is having a field day, ripping apart every last shred of their carefully built image.
A while back, Ryan Reynolds, the guy from Deadpool, was signing some autographs, right? Cool. Psych, not cool. Because see, Ryan Reynolds had a problem. People were quick to point out that this whole thing seemed staged, that maybe Ryan's team called professional autograph grifters, people who sell autographs, and said, hey, yo, Ryan finna be in this spot. You better show up. And then Ryan looked like Mr. Big Money, Mr. Please, no pictures. But the question remains, why would Ryan have to do this? Well, you see,
Blake's self-righteous feminist act? Gone. Ryan's lovable, self-aware comedian persona? Obliterated. Every cringeworthy SNL appearance, every tone-deaf interview, and every hypocritical statement they've made over the years, it's all coming. Back to haunt them in ways they never saw coming. Hollywood has officially turned its back on them. Studios want nothing to do with them. Brands are scrambling to cut ties. Even their fellow actors, the same ones who once gushed over their perfect relationship, are now too embarrassed to be associated with them. And worst of all, their own fans have completely abandoned them. But here's the real nightmare. Once the internet decides you're done, there's no coming back. Every clip, every tweet, every shady move they've made is now fuel for the most brutal takedown imaginable. And if you think that's bad, let's talk about the chaotic disaster that is It Ends With Us. This movie was supposed to be massive. Set to drop in August 2024, it raked in a staggering $351 million worldwide on just a $25 million budget. A major box office success, right? Wrong. Instead of being remembered as a hit, it has become one of Hollywood's biggest legal nightmares. And who's at the center of it all? Blake Lively. Her desperate attempts to play the victim while trying to control the narrative have completely backfired. And now, she's learning the hard way that Hollywood doesn't forgive or forget. Blake, the reigning queen of performative victimhood, pulled out every sob story in the book. She accused director Justin Baldoni of harassment, claiming he created a toxic, hostile work environment. According to her, she endured unwanted advances, inappropriate comments, and pure misery on set. But isn't it interesting how these explosive accusations only surfaced after she realized she didn't have as much control over the film as she thought? The timing? Way too convenient. Suddenly, she's the tragic heroine, suffering through the worst on-set experience of all time, but only when her power started slipping. And when did she take action? Oh, right, December 2024. Perfectly timed before the holiday season, ensuring the media frenzy would be at its peak. You can't make this stuff up. But Justin Baldoni, he wasn't about to roll over and let his name get dragged through the mud. Nope. He fired back hard, slapping Blake, Ryan, and their entire PR machine with a jaw-dropping $400 million lawsuit. His claims, defamation, extortion, and an outright attempt to hijack his movie. This wasn't just a scandal. This was war. Imagine being so desperate for power that you end up in a multi-million-dollar legal nightmare just because someone refused to let you take over. And if you think they played it smart from here, think again. Because these two so-called masterminds thought it would be hilarious to mock the entire situation on live television. Fast forward to February 2025 and enter Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary. In front of millions, Ryan Reynolds decided it would be a brilliant idea to crack a joke about their ongoing legal disaster. And shockingly, it backfired spectacularly.
His wife, Blake Lively, and a guy named Justin Baldoni. Okay, now to understand this, we're gonna go back to before Ryan was involved. Also, heads up, the story might seem like a bunch of celebrity drama, but it's actually deeper than it seems. Blake Lively, famous actress, also married to Ryan Reynolds. She gets a call, ring, ring. They said, "Hey girl, you trying to star in a movie called It Ends With Us?" She said, "For sure." They said, "Cool, you're gonna be starring with some dude named Justin Baldoni." This next part's important. They say, Justin Baldoni is also the director of the movie. He calls all the shots. Blake said, yes, come on, let's do it. Bet. So they shoot the movie. They finish the movie. After you finish the movie, you have to do something called a press tour. That means going around telling everybody, hey, everybody, the movie's coming out. At the same time, people were talking about how Blake and Justin were having problems on set and, things weren't good. But people were like, okay.
Ryan, buddy, when your wife is drowning in lawsuits, accusations, and a full-blown media storm, maybe, just maybe, don't turn it into a punchline on national television. And of course, Hollywood wasted zero time dragging them through the mud. The Hollywood Reporter went all in on their downfall, publishing a brutal cover story that laid everything out. But Blake? Oh, she wasn't having it. In true delusional drama queen fashion, she immediately called it sexist and demeaning. Oh, sure, Blake, it's always sexism when the media calls you out. But when you and your PR team spent months manipulating every press outlet to make Baldoni look like the villain, that was totally fine, right? And then came social media. Oh boy, the internet ate them alive. Fans, critics, everyone swarmed Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram, roasting them for their performative nonsense. This wasn't just backlash. It was a full-blown takedown. Hashtags like cancel Lively. Reynolds started trending. And let's just say, people were done with their woe is me act. Hollywood insiders had plenty to say about this disaster, and, spoiler alert, it's not looking good for Blake and Ryan. The same. Industry figures who once treated them like untouchable royalty, yeah, they're now actively distancing themselves. Some are even whispering that the absolute mess they've made of this situation could permanently damage their careers. And let's be real, this is Hollywood, a place where careers get blacklisted faster than you can say bad PR move. But here's the real kicker, the hypocrisy. Ryan Reynolds, the man who built his entire career on being the relatable, funny, self-aware guy, well, suddenly he's not so funny when the joke's on him. And Blake, the flawless, graceful, untouchable Hollywood. Darling, yeah, she's been officially exposed as the calculated, manipulative mess she's been hiding all along. Turns out Hollywood's so-called sweethearts were really just Hollywood's biggest frauds. And now, their entire professional lives are in free fall. Several of their biggest upcoming projects shelved at studios, running for the hills, their once lucrative endorsement deals, vanishing faster than Blake's credibility. Big brands hate controversy. And these two, they've officially become radioactive. Even their most loyal fan base is disappearing. For the first time in their careers, their charm, their PR games, their carefully curated personas, none of it is enough to save them. And speaking of Ryan, let's talk about him for a second. This man branded himself as the cool, self-aware guy. You know, the one who totally doesn't take Hollywood too seriously. But here's the truth. He desperately craved Hollywood's validation. And now, when multiple directors and former co-stars refuse to work with you, that's when you know you're the problem. Let's not forget Tim Miller, the original director of Deadpool. He didn't just leave the franchise, he ran from it. Why? Because working with Ryan Reynolds was an absolute nightmare. And if that wasn't bad enough, his Deadpool co-star TJ Miller made it crystal clear he would never work with Ryan again, not even for double the paycheck. Imagine being so unbearable that even the people who helped catapult you to box office royalty want nothing to do with you. That's not just bad. That's career suicide. And then there's Blake, the Golden Girl image she spent years building. It's falling apart right before our eyes. This is the same woman who made damn sure the world saw her as the perfect Hollywood wife, the ideal mother, the classy, graceful, untouchable star. But now, she's been exposed as someone who throws tantrums. The second things don't go her way. Her entire public narrative was about being a strong, independent actress, someone who fights for what's right. But the second things get messy, she's suddenly the most oppressed woman in Hollywood. Make it make sense. Here's the bottom line. Blake and Ryan genuinely thought they were invincible. They believed their carefully curated personas and PR tactics would protect them forever. They banked on their charm and likability to carry them through scandal after scandal. But the truth? People are done buying their act. The legal battle. The media circus. The embarrassingly failed attempts at damage control. Everything is piling up, and at this point, there's no coming back from this level of disaster.